Alright, welcome, hello everyone, I am his most awesomest KnightTrain, casting this yet another epic duel between the players from MLG Providence, and with me as always is my BFFFF.
The Robo So Nice, they named him twice, DoubleRobo here casting on MLG Shattered Temple, and we'll start with the Terran player, red in the left, we have CoLMVPKeen, and in the bottom right we have the blue Protoss player, FXOSLoG, who I actually believe is FXOz or FXOZ, who's gone through many name changes. But he's playing on Slog's account right now, who's another FXO player. So we'll just call him Slog to avoid any confusion / me looking like an idiot, because it's actually Slog, even though the replay calls him Z.
So, cool. Cool. Well, very excited to see this match here on Shattered Temple. They are close positions by air, so I would not be surprised even a little to see some cool Warp Prism Mothership kind of action going on. Worth noting that Keen is actually not walling off, so he seems pretty confident he's not going to get any early pressure or anything like that.
Yeah, Mothership a little rarer against Terran for the same reason that Carriers are pretty rare against Terran. Terran are usually pumping Vikings by the time they get 4 or 5 medevacs, because they're expecting the Colossus switch. So if you come out with Carriers or a Mothership, they've already got the counter to it. So a little rare in TVP unless you're doing something, a little more, what's the word I'm looking for, kitschy maybe? Like when Huck did that Mothership rush against Drewby. That was pretty sweet.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, much like battle cruisers, there's no real bad time for a Mothership. Just saying.
Well, as casters, there's definitely no real bad time for a Mothership. I think Slog and his coach might disagree. But we see here Slog doing his regular build. He's going to put down his second pylon. He's got his core going down right now as well. Keen scouting him first, so he knows exactly where he's going to be. And Slog going to get in. Actually, maybe not. That Marine might get out in time because he didn't scout at all here. So no probe on the map.
Yeah, I don't see one at all.
So Slog, he's getting that extra economy from that one probe for the sake of not scouting. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for a quick robo here, or hallucination maybe, yeah, for the observer to scout so that he knows what's going to be going on in the Terran base.
Actually, I'm looking at this. The Zealot, this may change, but the Zealot out of the Warp Gate here is actually rallied to the Terran base. So he's going to be doing the coolest type of scouting there is with a Zealot.
Yeah, Slog map here to know where the Terran player is, apparently.
Well, I think it may be a good guess. The MLG version, I don't know if it does anything particular with the spawning position, but he may have just, it may be an educated guess. He may go, well, the map special type only, accounts for this kind of thing. And Keen almost seeming to see this coming. He's got the nice Marine up on the high ground there. This Zealot is going to do basically nothing. I don't believe he's seen the bunker or the expansion, so very well by Keen keeping this Zealot out.
Yeah, I kind of like this by Slog. He's going to do a little bit of a Zealot and Stalker pressure, although you're right, he didn't see that bunker, so the Zealot taking a little bit of health damage here. But that's what he's there for. He's there to tank so that the Stalker doesn't take damage. But 3 Marines in that bunker, so not really going to get anywhere close to that. He may try to run the Stalker up into the main, but as we see, 4 barracks going down.
Going in there, more or less bonsaiing that Zealot to get up there. The Stalker taking a little bit of health damage, but now there's a Zealot.
Brilliant.
Woo!
Really brilliant to see all those barracks up there.
Absolutely.
Gonna know exactly what's going on from Keen. Maybe even getting an SCV here. Yep, gets 1.
SCV.
Is he gonna get 2? No, he doesn't. The Marines are gonna zone him out. But that Zealot really worth his 100 minerals there.
Absolutely, that was brilliant. Maybe a little bit of a misstep by Keen. I don't think he quite expected. I mean, you look at that as a Terran player and you go, I've got a bunker, I've got 4 Marines, that Stalker isn't going to do anything, that Zealot isn't going to do anything. What is he going to do but sit out there? I don't think he quite expected to see him, run straight in the base like that. It is worth noting an SCV did get in. He saw the expansion for Slog. He did see, I believe, most of the tech. So both these players actually looking at exactly, there's no real secrets to be had as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and Slog's expansion finishing up now. He's going to put up his 4 gates. Obviously, it's not Gnawlings. He's got that expansion going down, but he's still going to have pretty good unit production. I assume that's probably a reaction to these 4 barracks coming out from Keen. So,
right.
I think I know how much StarCraft players hate WoW, so I'm going to make a reference here. He actually haunted that barracks a little bit with the Stalker back to when he ran the Zealot in, and I think Keen was paying more attention to that Stalker trying to bait it out. Now going to kill some of these Marines.
Ooh, that Stalker is very, very close.
Oh, that one's got really low health. He's going to be able to get it out of there just barely, but
oh, a little bit of a miss,
the extra range. Oh, miss micro goes around that pillar there. But now these two Stalkers are going to be able to kite these Marines and doing some great damage against these.
Right. Right.
Really good micro here by SLoG.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see what Keen's going to be doing with this. I mean, if you look, his barracks up until a minute ago had no tech labs or reactors. This was all Marines. Oh, he might get that Stalker. Oh, he actually knocked my voice box out with the epicness of that attack.
Knocked voice box back to the 3rd grade here.
Exactly.
And he catches that Stalker, and that's actually a huge deal.
Oh, he might get the next one. Oh, SLoG throwing it away. Ooh,
that other one, too, yeah. That's actually a huge deal. SLoG here just warping in some more Stalkers, but he had almost nothing at this point. Keen now scanning. He knows what's going on. He probably has enough Marines to do some damage there, but with those extra sentries, he's not really going to want to risk it. He doesn't want to lose all those Marines, because that would open up a really good counterattack timing here for SLoG. And in fact, he may just counterattack in general. He's got that pylon on the high ground that's going to let him warp in close to the Terran's base.
Right, right. This is a very, very interesting move. I mean, we've got a lot of Stalkers, we've got a lot of sentries, you know, versus all Marines. I mean, we do see some tech going out, but if you look at the, you know, unit counting station here, he doesn't have a single thing but SCVs and Marines, and they're all hugging that bunker for dear life. So Stalkers and sentries pretty good against that, but it'll be interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah, 3 tech labs and a reactor going down. So if SLoG wants to do any damage, it's going to have to be right now before these Marauders get out. And here come 2 Marauders. So, you know, concussive shell's about halfway done. He's not going to be able to do a ton of damage, but his Marines are pretty spread out. Good force fields here.
Yeah, very good.
Repairing to that bunker.
The bunker is about to fall.
Yeah, that bunker is going to fall. He's not able to repair it, and doing some good damage against these Marines, just showing the power of that shield on the sentries.
Right, right. You know, I would say both players got out of that probably, you know, not terribly in a bad position. I'd say SLoG's in a pretty good position. You can look here. A lot of these Stalkers are pretty wounded, and the big thing is those sentries are pretty wounded. There's no more Guardian shields. There's just a little bit of energy for force field, and he's going to come in using these Zealots to take some damage. I don't know how well this is going to work.
Yeah, it's important to note out, SLoG feeling so comfortable with this contain that he's actually building his Twilight Council at his expansion, and I don't think that that's actually a good idea here, because if he has to fall back and Keen counterattacks, he's going to be able to get a free kill on that Twilight Council too. That doesn't
definitely
make any
keeping
sense
up the pressure.
So far down.
Though these Marauders do have concussive shells at this point. Stim actually just finishing.
Another Stim, but no medevacs out yet, but he's going to kill that sentry. That's actually huge.
Yeah, throwing away that sentry that was basically useless anyway. At this point, you know, SLoG knows there's Marauders out, there's concussive shells out, there's Stim out. It's a time to go home.
Yeah, SLoG throwing down those double forges. I like this move, but yet again, the positioning is a little interesting to me. He's putting him at his expansion again. So he doesn't have any cannons up. He doesn't have anything to actually defend this expansion other than this small ball of units. So, you know, Keen deciding to go for the economic advantage here and take out these gold rocks, maybe expand to this as his 3rd, which I think is a good choice. But if he were to choose to counterattack, he'd get some pretty easy kills on those forges.
Right, right. I think SLoG may have been figuring, you know, I'm kind of on the offensive right now. You know, I might as well do it. These Stalkers in a really, really bad position as a quest they should not have accepted.
Keen feeling a little ballsy with this medevac out now, going to push just a little bit. That one medevac doesn't have enough energy to heal everything up necessarily, at least not in battle and here, but he's going to be able to poke a little bit, and he sees the scan, so he sees everything going on here. And I think, to be honest, that's probably the only reason SLoG would have put these at his expansion, was he didn't think that Keen would scan it instead of his main base. But it's a lot safer to put him out on the outside instead of there, I feel like.
Little drop here coming in, just a handful of Marauders. He may try and do some kind of laddering here, using that medevac to lift things up. Actually bringing the ones down. He has seen Blink. He does know it's there. This is a pretty bad position for him. He does not want to be, even with that medevac, he doesn't want to be on the low ground.
I love this little play. Keen landing his factory in the main base of SLoG, just pumping out one Hellion. And I think that's a great little way to keep the Protoss on his toes. May as well use that factory because he's going bio, so he's not going to use it for anything else anyway. Right.
And it's essentially a free scan too. He got to see most of the base. He got to see some of the tech without having to, you know, give up a mule for it.
Yeah, so Keen, he's got this Ghost Academy down, although doesn't have any. He's not building any Ghosts yet, but he's upgrading the Mobius reactor, so they're going to have a lot of energy for EMP when they come out. He's keeping up with the Protoss upgrades, which is the hardest thing for Terran to do in this matchup, just because of the way that the Chrono Boost works. But he's actually going to have 1-1 just about the same time as Slog here, although Slog's starting 2-2, so he may get ahead in the long game. And he's got a lot of Zealots. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go for some Zealot Archon here. He's got the Templar Archives finishing up right now. He may go Storm, he may go Archons, but we'll see which one.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with either one. 2 Templars coming out right now. I mean, the other thing is, Templar's good at feedbacking, but he warps them straight into an Archon. So, again, I hate to admit it, but you were correct. We are going to see Zealot Archon. Really not a whole lot of Stalkers here. You look, there's only 10 out on the field, and given these close air positions, I think you'd see a lot more drops. However, Slog very prepared for this. He's got the Stalkers kind of patrolling those drop routes. However, he does not see this medevac flying around here. This medevac gonna check for this third base here, as well as probably do some good dropping in the natural. Scanning, sees that there's nothing there. This may be a very good timing.
Yeah, that's a great point. And actually, Keen gonna move out, or Slog gonna move out on the map a little bit. I don't think he's really going to try and attack into this, and I love this play by Keen. If you look at, he's got these supply depots and this the missile turret here that are really going to break up the Zealots when they try to charge in. It's kind of the same idea as bunkers, but they're a little bit cheaper.
The medevac does go down. The drop is now here in the natural. And as you were talking about earlier, my favorite robotic friend, he's built his own little sim city here that is really not working to his advantage. I mean, to try and get any kind of Zealots through here is going to be a nightmare, and really he's just warping one in with the Terran focusing down the Templar Archives. He does get it. Ooh, a good feedback on the medevac, so these are going to fall pretty darn quickly, but damage definitely done.
Yeah, killing that Templar Archives is huge. It's a really expensive gas, and you'd rather have that gas going into either Templar or Colossus, depending on what you're doing right now. Slog has 2 gates just going into a warp gate right now, so one thing I was going to point out is that he's going to take that gold, which I think is a great decision here. We have to hold that thought because it looks like Slog posturing like he puts up his Guardian Shield.
That's going to go down. Ooh,
good
some
EMP,
Templars!
but doesn't hit all the sentries, so the force fields still go down. The Zealots now kind of working against the force field, stuck in the back, or stuck in the front, I should say. Marauders behind the force field, so Slog doing Keen a service there, and he may have enough units to just counterattack and win this game here.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, I mean, there were a couple feedbacks that went down, but that Archon and those Templar were the first things to get engaged. That was really not good. Again, you're absolutely right. Again, another position
There's the GG.
Where, yeah,
those
good.
force fields really working at Slog there. Splitting up the army, good initially, but he just didn't have the right positioning and enough Zealots to really make that work. I don't think that was a good choice of an engagement for him. He had that gold just going up right now. I would have liked to see him wait. One thing I was going to talk about as right before that engagement started was that taking the gold, if you're going Zealot Archon, is a great choice because you can put up a ton of extra gateways. Protoss who are going this composition, I really like to see them put up 12, 14, 18 gateways if they have a ton of extra minerals.
Sure.
And then they can just refill almost like a 400 Zerg build where you bank those minerals, you bank that gas, and you can refill really fast and keep the pressure on the Terran. But he didn't wait for that to kick in, and it really kind of went against him.
Right, and that's a fair point. I mean, you look here, there's no probes on the gold base at all. The Terran player definitely had an advantage coming into that. I mean, he had a handful of Templar, but really only 1 Archon. I mean, he got some good feedbacks off on the medevac, but at that point, most of them he healed, didn't have a whole lot of energy anyway, so he may have killed 1 or 2, but it really wasn't worth his effort. I totally agree. If he had waited, kind of let that base, churn a little bit more. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure he expected kind of the very large force from the Terran that he did, and either way, he really kind of botched the attack. At least that first one.
I'm actually going back in the replay here and watching this attack really quick to see what made Slog initiate at that point. And right before, it looked like Slog was moving up towards the gold of Keen, and Keen, instead of trying to defend that, moved down towards the tower here. So Slog had his Stalkers and some Zealots at the bottom of the tower, and the rest of his units at the top, including those Templar in the front, like you pointed out. And I think he was afraid of a counterattack here from Keen, since he just set up that gold base. And it's a tough call. I don't know if he should have really engaged there, but I don't know if he really had a choice. If Keen would have counterattacked, I think he might have just killed him. Right.
That's true. A million things you can always say. It's not often a game you see, well, that's the killing blow right there. But a very good game by both these players. Let's move on to game 2.